This is the Olight Baldr S. So it's very similar to the Baldr Mini, but it's a little bit more powerful beam, and it's got a couple of other features that the Mini does not have. Very nice looking product. Comes in the standard Olight box. So when you take it out of the box, it's got the plastic case that the unit itself is sitting in, and it's got the quick release coupler to go on the rail just like the other Baldrs do, and it's also the adjustable carriage so that you can adjust it how you need to on your gun to make it fit your gun properly. And then of course you've got the charging cord that comes with it, and the Olights have the magnetic charging port on the bottom of them. Rather than it being a USB port, you have the magnetic charger, so it's really easy to make sure that that thing is attached well, because once the charger gets close to it, it just sucks itself right into the position that it needs to be for it to work, rather than having to worry about a little USB port that's going to move on you as the unit gets older if you push in and out too much on the port. So the magnetic charging cords work really well. And then it comes with the instructions, and then also some spare parts. Here it has a couple of spare screws in here, but it also has a different adapter for the Picatinny rails. The Glock rails have a narrower groove than the standard 1913 pick rails do. So if you have a Glock, those grooves right there are tighter. So it has another adapter that you can put on there to be able to make it fit the Glock rails better than the standard 1913 style rails. And I've got the other video that we did on the Baldr Mini, and I show how you change those out. It's a really simple process. Just take out 2 screws and put the screws back in, and they send you the Allen wrench and the screws and everything that you need to be able to swap those out. Now, as far as the specs on the Baldr S, this one has a 800 lumen white LED, and then it's also the green laser on it as well. But one of the differences, other than the strength of the LED from the Baldr Mini to the Baldr S, is that the flashlight part of it, whether you've got it on the setting where it's just the light or the setting where it is the light and the laser, you can have it on a low intensity or you can have it on a high intensity. And when you turn it on, you can't really tell a whole lot out here in the daylight, but we'll go inside later where it's dark and I'll show you what that looks like. So when you just got it turned on the flashlight, if normally to turn it on and off, you click one of the 2 little ears that comes off the back of the light, and it's ambidextrous, so you can click either one of them, turn it on and off. But when you've got it turned on, if you want to switch in between the high and the low settings on the light, then you just double click one of the switches to turn the different intensity on. So went from the high setting there where it's real bright against the side of the bag to a lower setting. So that's like 100 lumen is what the low setting is versus the 800 lumen on the high setting. So there's a big difference between the two, but if you're in a situation where you don't need as much light, then you could use that lower intensity light, and it would of course run a little bit longer with a lower intensity than it would with the high intensity light. But you've got the 3 different settings, just like you do on the Baldr Mini. You've got the light only, you've got the light laser combination, and then you've got just the laser on here. So you can use this switch to go in between the 3. So if you're back on the light laser combination, then you see the light and the laser. Or if you just switch it to the laser only, then you just got the green dot. And of course the green dot with the green laser is going to be a lot stronger laser, and it will pick up further down range than your red lasers do. So it's a very nice laser to be able to see your target from a longer distance than you would be able to with a red laser, especially in daylight settings like this. Red lasers you don't pick up as well as you do the green lasers. And with the adjustable carriage on here, it will fit multiple types of guns as long as the pick rail is the right style to be able to hold the carriage here. Then it will work fine on the gun. I've got a couple of the SIG 365s, and it won't work on that rail because it doesn't have the grooves on the bottom of the gun. So you've got to have a standard 1913 rail for it to be able to work, but it switches in between guns pretty easily. So you just open up the quick release here, push one side onto the rail, and then clamp the quick release down, and it's locked onto the rail very tightly there. Then you slide it back and forth enough to where you can get your trigger finger or whatever other finger you want to use to turn the light on right here at the front of the trigger guard. So you can go in between, take it off more of a full size 9mm to more of a smaller 9. This is the M&P Shield EZ, so it fits on that one really well. Or you could take it and put it on a full-size gun. This is a HK 45, so works fine on all 3 sizes of guns. The only thing that you'd have to do once you switch it from one gun to another, you might have to adjust the aiming point of the laser a little bit to be able to get it back on target for the gun. And we'll demonstrate that a little bit when we start doing a little bit of shooting with this thing and get it lined up onto the right combination of looking at the sights and then getting the laser lined up onto the right part. So that's the general specs on the Baldr S. And as I said, this one's new and it's coming out just as being released. But to give you a comparison between the Baldr S and the Baldr Mini, these are the two. This is the Baldr S in my right hand and the Baldr Mini in my left. So there's not a lot of difference size-wise. The Baldr S is a little bit longer, but as far as width goes, might be just a hair wider, but not really that much. It's mainly just the length of the case itself, and then the intensity of the lumens on the light. And then another reference for you, if you have one of these, this is the PL Mini 2. This is the Valkyrie light. So this one is just the light only. It's not a light and laser combination, but it's a lot smaller than what the Baldr is. But they're all mount the same way on the guns, and with the quick release mounts, these things are very solid once you get them on the gun. Haven't had any problem with them working loose while I've been shooting. And I keep the Baldr Mini on this FN, which is my home defense gun. that I keep beside the bed. So I really like the way the light and laser combination works, so I use it myself there. So let's put this one on one of the guns and try it out and see how it's gonna go. Okay guys, so we got the laser light combination, the Baldr S, mounted onto the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ, and I've adjusted it a little bit already to get the laser more in line with the sights. It comes with the little Allen wrench that you need to be able to adjust the sight, and it's got the two openings here on the side. It'll be the right side of the sight, so that you can, the back one adjust left to right and the front one adjust up and down, so you can get this thing lined up properly with your sights. Well, I pulled that one. Okay, so I've got the dot just a little bit above the sights on the gun, so I can still see the dot, so I know that the bullet's going to hit just a little bit below where the dot is hitting on the sight. And some of that, of course, is me pulling or pushing the gun down a little bit when I'm pulling the trigger, but majority of them are staying right there in the center where it was lined up. So let's run another magazine through the Smith just to double check that, then we'll swap it out to another gun. Okay, so it worked good on the Smith. Got it adjusted pretty close there, and you could always fine tune it a little bit more. I know I'm going to be switching in between guns here, so I wasn't going to bother with trying to get it dead on there, but it's easy enough to adjust with that little Allen wrench that you can get it pretty close, and then if you're going to leave it on one particular gun, then you can get that thing dead to where you want it when you're going to be shooting it. So let's swap it out to another gun. And we'll go to the full size 9mm. This is a FNS9. And this adjustable carriage on here lets you adjust for the different length of slides that you have. So it fits just as well on a shorter slide, as long as it's long enough to get it to be adjusted back to the right a little bit. Okay, so I'm adjusting the sight here to allow for the FN. It's a little bit different configuration from the Smith & Wesson than it is to the FN here. So that's got it about where it needs to be, left to right. I'm gonna go back to the left just a little bit. So to get it to the left, you just turn it to the back, and then the difference in between the height of the barrels was a lot different, so I need to go down now on the FN. Okay, and that gets it about, go back up just a hair. I want it just right above the front sight when the sights are lined up properly, so that's about right there. Okay, so it's pretty simple to adjust this thing. It takes just a few seconds to be able to get it in from one gun to another. So it looks like it's hitting right where I've got the dot on the target. This gun's, I love shooting this gun. It's one of my favorite guns, but it handles really well. After 15 rounds, I wasn't expecting it to move around any, but there's no movement in the carriage here. This lock is still very tight, and I mean, we hadn't torture tested it or anything to see, put a bunch of rounds through a gun, make sure it's going to hold in place. But as tight as that is there now, I don't think it's going to move around a whole lot. You'd really have to abuse this thing bad to be able to cause any problems with that carriage. Okay. So now let's switch it over to the HK45 and see how it likes shooting on a 45. So again, just flip the lever to release it, and then just mount it on the gun where you want it, and then you can slide it back to where it will be within reach of your fingers. And that's pretty close right there. So from the FN to the HK, it's pretty close as far as the sight adjustment, so I don't have to really adjust it a whole lot. If, like I said earlier, if I was going to be leaving it on this gun permanently, then I'd want to tweak it a little bit and get it dead exactly where I wanted it. But for purpose of this test, we're pretty close. So let's go ahead and load up some 45s. Okay guys, just a quick note on the 9mm rounds that I was just shooting. Those are some that were some bad rounds that I had bought several years back, and I had several problems with them feeding in my FN. Normally this gun will take just about any kind of ammo and never have any problems with cycling the action, but I had several failure to feeds and stovepipes and several other malfunctions with that particular ammo. So I finally realized that the ammo was just not loaded properly. So I've had it for a couple of years, and I decided that I wanted to try to reuse it. Since ammo is so short nowadays, I didn't want to just waste that ammo. So one of the other videos that you can go check out is called the Franklin Arsenal Pile Driver. It is a piece of equipment that you can break down ammo with, and I use that to take the bullet back out of the case. When you do that, the mechanism catches the powder, but since you don't know exactly what kind of powder that is unless you loaded it yourself, then it's safer just to dispose of that powder properly and then put a new powder in there. So that's what I did. I just disposed of that powder. I got it stored in a little bucket right now. I'll get rid of it at some point. But I was able to reuse the cases with the primers already in place and put in new bullets and new powder. And that's what I was shooting on that. Just thought that might be a little interesting side note for you. Okay, so let's check out the 45 and see how we do with the 45. Oh, jerked that one big time. Okay, well, from the big hole that's going in the center of the sight there, it looks like it was hitting pretty well about where I was wanting it to. I pulled a couple down on the bottom there. Okay, so here you can see we've just got the green laser on. You can see it down at the end of the hallway there. And then switch it out now to the flashlight with the laser. And once you go from any of the combination of the laser light or just the light itself, you can go from this high setting to a lower setting. So this is 100 lumens here, and this is 800 lumens here. And then you can have just the flashlight. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so just the flashlight. So there's just the light, 800, just the light, 100, the light with the laser at 100, back up to 800, and just the laser. So it's pretty dark without the flashlight going on there. The sight itself did a great job. It's, again, still very tight on the rail here. And if you're looking for a really nice light laser combination that has a very strong flashlight component to it and a nice green laser, then this new Baldr S from Olight is a great combination for you to pick up. So when these become available, if they're not already when this video comes out, then it'd be a great option for you to pick up. Don't know what the MSRP is going to be on these things yet. I haven't seen that information from Olight, but their products are usually very reasonably priced for the type products that you get. So check out the Olight brand, and then check out doubleeaglegunworks.com for more information. Like and subscribe down at the bottom, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.